This is an early Friday night at a nightclub in Lynchburg, Virginia, just before a crowd starts to come in.
Something that only God can do.
And this is the same nightclub on a Sunday morning, where Gospel Community Church meets to worship.
And pain and suffering, and we even saw Jesus at one point break down and weep alongside of those who were weeping. But there's also great victory in what was happening last.
We ended up at a nightclub at first, not necessarily out of desire, but desperation. We were losing the facility we were in, which was a school, and we were frantically looking all over the community for a space to meet. And then all of a sudden we said, what about the nightclub? One of the things we were thinking is that the nightclub could potentially be a missional opportunity for us. We believe that God changes people's lives, that He renews and restores. And so this idea of redemption kind of permeates our ministry, and we began to, this burden of redeeming this space began to kind of lay heavy on us as a team.
One of the pros is there are people who would never set foot inside of a church building either because they don't want to, because they have and didn't have a good experience, that they were sort of rejected or judged or just felt shame. Nightclub is more neutral territory, and we get the opportunity to preach the gospel there, which brings life and light to dark places. So there's beauty in the redemption of it. It's sort of a weekly picture of what Christ does for us.
So on a given morning with the connection table, with the Kids City, with the production, there's probably around maybe 30 to 40 people in the room setting something up or getting things ready in between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. We start setting up the platform, the stage, at about, we'll say 6:15 a.m. At about 6:30, I'll see the setup leader for the chairs come in, and he'll start setting up the main auditorium with his team. So I would say right around 7 a.m. we have a full crew of things happening in the main areas, people setting up, and about 7:30 a.m. roughly, we're running our first song. The band's ready to go, the worship team's set, we're playing the songs. I'm looking out into the auditorium, and the chairs are almost done, and I can see upstairs from where I stand, people are setting up for Kids City.
Some of the cons are we have plenty of room for our adults, but we don't have enough room for our kids. A number of times we've gone in there to clean up the space, and there's broken bottles and there's glass on the floor where we put our babies, and so we have to sweep that up, and that takes a long time, and there's not enough space, and it's just not ideal for kids who are more vulnerable. And adults can take care of themselves, but kids, even with great supervision, it's just difficult for that.
G or D? D.
D at 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Okay, awesome.
There's after smells, there's after garbage, there's after all kinds of stuff. And so you have to be diligent in cleaning the space and preparing it for worship. One of the main ways we actually do that, though, is not so much in like physical cleaning, but actually spiritual cleansing. So our prayer team meets every Sunday morning before our first service, and we just dedicate that space and dedicate our services to the Lord, knowing that regardless of what happened in that building that week or the night before, the place was going to be sacred because God's Spirit was going to be there.
He's just making it so
Some days you'll pull in and there's lots of cars in the parking lot, and it's not because people are there for church, it's because there was a really good party and somebody drove them home. So they're coming back to pick up their cars. And oftentimes, they're curious about what's happening on Sunday morning, and so they'll pop in for worship, or they'll just sit in the back and watch. One of the most maybe memorable or meaningful moments was a band member. Sometimes you'll pull in and there's buses with people in from the night before, and they're sleeping in there. And we had a band member that came to church and had a conversation with one of our pastors about how he hadn't been to church in a really long time. He had some spiritual background, but was really encouraged that he could go to church that day because his bus was in the back of the club. But man, one of my favorite Sundays are baptism Sundays. When we transform that space into a place where we testify about the work of God in our lives. For some people, they just can't get over that hurdle that, man, your church is meeting in this place. They still view it as a club rather than a sanctuary. And that's okay. We know that gospel community is not for everybody. The message of the gospel is, but culturally, different people fit better in different churches and different places.